What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast. Today, as always, we have my man, Logan Hyder of Cinema 83 LLC in the house.
What is
doing
it?
the co-hosting, doing the producing, all this very important things that get this out there. Thank you for being here, bro.
I love you so much. You're so beautiful.
I love you too. And also, we have one of my best friends in the universe here today. My man, Sean Hudson.
Do you want the clap? Let's do it.
Hit him with the twinkles.
I know, he always wants the twinkles.
That was enchanting.
That was my favorite. That's my favorite one.
Just takes all the nerves right out.
Yeah, that's the only one. I wish that was the only button.
They all just said, they all did the same
they
thing.
They all just did that. People are like, what's going on?
Dude, hit the green one.
Y'all made me feel so mystical.
Yeah. Mystical Sean in the house. And of course, we have David sitting in over there. What's up, David?
What's up?
Off camera.
Yeah, off cam. He's too handsome. But,
The power behind the throne.
oh my God, dude, I'm spilling Ghost. What the?
I mean,
Dude,
we're
your
spilling.
ghost's spilling out.
We're spilling unnamed product, which we're not
I'm
paid
spilling-
to promote.
Spilling blood.
You gonna bleep that out?
There you go. No, not really. But
Till they pay.
we could use a drink sponsor though. Anybody?
Yeah, check it out. Check it out. Well, we get Andy on here. We'll see what happens. Sean, what's up, buddy?
Good morning, bro.
Hell yeah. So
I love you.
I love you too, man. So Sean and I go back to about, well, we're part of the wolf cult world, as I said before with Tom. And so I think we started interacting on Instagram, I think early 2018 timeframe, maybe like 2017, even into 2017.
It might have been.
Because we were friends like through there for at least half a year.
At least half a year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Guerrilla warfare Viking.
Really? Oh, God.
Yeah.
Don't say that name. I don't go by nothing Viking, okay?
Oh, I bleeped that out. Yeah, me neither. Yeah, I think we just we connected through our passion for metal and muscles.
Metal, muscles, and
You trying to come up with the three piece?
metal and muscles. Yeah, but we had a lot of mutual friends in that world. We still do. And then, we just conversated. We always hype each other up on Instagram.
Yeah, he was a real person.
Yeah. And then,
How about that?
yeah. And then we had this opportunity to go to this big event, big like pagan thing. And it was probably 500 miles away from me. And I hopped on my motorcycle and rode out there. And I pulled up and I saw Sean. I was like on this land. I was like, what am I doing? No, it was cool as shit, just rolling up. And then I was on my Harley and I saw Sean there. And that was the first time we hung out. And then we, fucking had a wild weekend, man. Had a big ritual, a bunch of physical stuff. We were like sparring partners the entire time, pretty much.
Oh, we were Siamese twins for 3 days.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's interesting how Jake, I think, or Jake and Brett, maybe. What I was gonna say is that basically everybody. It seems like it's like that, where you guys were just at the same place and just walked up to each other, and now you're like fucking best friends. It's all
Yeah, like
faded.
100%.
Yeah, states away too. It's not even from here. That's the thing. Like all these guys that were here over the weekend are some of my best friends, and they all live like in Texas, Colorado, Connecticut, Florida. They live like all everywhere else, It's
The most mind blowing one is Jake though, with the freaking being born in the same hospital with the same doctor.
Oh, did you know that?
That's news to me.
You didn't
J-
know, bro. Listen to this.
Jake and I were
Listen
born
to
in the
this shit.
exact same hospital.
Up.
Yeah, and it was like pretty close together too. So that was pretty wild.
Like they're pretty sure the same doctor delivered them.
Yeah.
And then they met at a fucking concert in Atlanta.
Watane.
And now they're fucking boy. Like what?
Yeah.
What?
Now he's my brother.
It's so weird. And Brett, like he talked about like wherever he was at when he met you, he just saw you and walked straight up to you and
Told me I was sexy.
yeah.
Did.
That's how they met.
He
And
said, "You're the sexiest dude out here besides me."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Thanks, man. That means a lot."
So
I'm
then
glad you took
today,
notice of that.
then today you're like, yeah, we were just at a thing, and then boom, there you
Is
go.
that saying much at a black metal show, however?
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's what it was. I mean, we were, and that weekend was fun. I mean, there was like a lot of rowdy shit. There was a big black metal concert in the middle of the woods. I remember these two brothers were fighting in the middle, and it was raining. And like they told me to get my Harley, and all the Harleys were lined up around the fight, facing. So the stage is right here in front of you, and then there's all these Harleys lined up with their lights on, just running. And these
That's
dudes,
so cool.
this black metal band's playing on stage, and these dudes are just beating the shit out of each other. And we're like
That's
revving
wild.
up our motorcycles and shit. Everybody's drinking beer and fucking.
Bro, there were a lot of Ouroboros, full circle dynamics.
Yeah, dude, it was
all
intense.
over that in that moment. One of the front men from said band was previously in a project that hit me around the turn of the century back in high school when I was kind of like just beginning to hone my own craft at it. And he was a huge influence, and just like to have him later in this project there.
Nice.
It was like, I mean, he was such a he made such an impact on
That's
me
cool.
with his previous stuff, you know. And then he was up there doing that while you were over here going, while chasing his brother, just beat the ever living shit out of each other. And I was like, why? I was like, this is the way.
This is the way. It was fucking rad, man. And if you don't, so
I'll never forget it.
Sean's demeanor. Sean's in a death metal band. He's actually been in death metal and shit for how long?
Yeah, tell the people. That's what.
Yeah, tell everybody what you do. I mean, we'll get back to like some of these things because it's funny to connect all these dots. But
I am bass and vocals for an Austin, Texas based brutal blackened death metal band called Serpentian.
and they are that
Yeah.
brutal and blackened. You just feel it rise up, dude.
We're pretty nasty.
Yeah, they're pretty nasty.
You don't say that you do vocals. I couldn't tell.
You can hear you can hear the voice, and then his whole demeanor is just like,
Dude, he's got the perfect
metal as
voice
fuck.
for fucking a condensed mic like this. He just sounds so crispy.
Ooh, you've been told that? Have you been told you're crispy, Sean?
No, but I'll take it.
Crispy, you crispy dog. You crispy as hell.
Hell yeah, dude. So
Good.
go ahead.
Well, it's actually funny you say that because, I mean, primarily up until this point, it was bass and backing vocals, you know. But just in recent weeks, our incredible frontman has unfortunately had to kind of step down due to family obligations, which I respect the hell out of.
Yeah.
Problem is, big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And I don't know. The other two guys, the guitar player, Swat, and the drummer, Kevin Elrod. It's just one of those things where, like, I don't want to find someone else. I kind of just want to,
Take over.
as I do.
Try to fill in those shoes.
Yeah, this is probably,
as you will.
Yeah, as I am. And you know, it's just that you never know how badass you might be able to discover yourself to actually be when you're cornered
Yeah.
into, you know, that kind of pressure. You know, you're forced to level up.
Yeah, when your back's against the wall, man.
Exactly. And like, okay, so we decided I don't want to find anybody else. Let's just do it ourselves. You know, we sound good. Our backing vocals have always been sick.
Yeah.
You know, and there aren't enough just untouchable power trios
Out
in
there.
black death metal anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all are going to be recognized for that, you know?
You know, and I've always dug the way that Niall's vocals were always a revolving door.
Oh, yeah. Niles will, yeah.
Trade-offs, and, you know, that's cool.
It was
That's cool
always
as fuck.
badass. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I always
So he,
it was like, okay, well, what do we do? Do we find a new singer? You know, do we do it all ourselves? We do it ourselves because shit. What if it's awesome? You know what I mean?
And you did it yourself. Right.
Well, we're in the process of reconfiguring everything.
oh,
You
yeah.
know, so
Well, y'all going to own it, and we're stoked to fucking hear what you got going on.
yeah.
Here sooner or later. There might be
Exactly.
some music video clips on this episode. You may know, you may not. You gotta make it to the end of the episode, or we might just throw it in. I don't know. We're gonna throw it in somewhere. It's gonna be fucking legit. So don't miss that because it's some brutal shit. And for everybody that knows and watches this, they know like metal's my thing. Logan doesn't like it. Yeah. He listens to like Chainsmokers or something.
I don't listen to fucking Chainsmokers. Stop it.
Amy Winehouse.
Do not listen to fucking Chainsmokers. Dear God.
I'm just kidding. But no, look, metal's not his thing, but it's not everybody's thing, you know? Like most people I know in my life, like don't listen to metal.
You don't really like rap, right?
No.
See?
Well, whatever.
Dude, what the hell, man? No, but I did want to say real quick, just with you guys knowing each other as well as you do, and with you guys being so in the same lane, I'm playing that that third person that has no clue what you're talking about.
Oh, this is our favorite.
Yeah, so let's.
Well,
yeah.
I do want to say because I want you to ask him that because I'll have him.
It wasn't even a question. I was just gonna say I want to start from the beginning because I don't really know what he's talking about.
Okay,
You know
all
what
right. But I do want to say I just remember this. I don't want to forget. What's funny is he was in this band years ago, and when I was in the military, and
yeah.
And, you know, we always talk about different metal bands, like, since we've known each other, like, oh, check this out. He usually knows, like, 90% of them, but sometimes I hit him with a surprise. He's like, nice.
That's always the best feeling.
Yeah, I'm like,
and you're like,
yeah, dude,
check this one out. Dude, that was really cool. I never heard that. You're like,
I knew a metal band that Sean didn't know, and he likes it. But, because otherwise he'd be like, nah. I'm just kidding, but. Next. Yeah. So, I was in the military, and there was a FYE, four-year entertainment store at the mall in Panama City. And so every once in a while, like, you know, I'd be out and about running errands. I'd stop by there like every Sunday or every other Sunday and get like a new metal CD. Because, yeah, that's when I had a CD player. I just listened to CDs all the time. And so I picked up this album. I was like, this looks pretty cool. And it was like symphonic black metal, right? Technically. It's kind of like symphonic black metal.
Big on the gothic edge.
Yeah, big on the gothic edge. And then like...
And the melodic death metal edge.
Yeah. And shortly after I met him, we were talking about bands, and I brought this band up. He was like, dude, I was in that band. I was on that album. And I was like, what?
That's crazy.
And this was like probably at least like 6 years before I even met him. You know? Really? And I was like, dude, that's fucking nuts, dude. I was like listening to you play
that's so dope.
music before I even like knew who the hell you were.
That's
you know?
so
Bro, and
interesting.
that music that's like, that comes from your deepest recesses.
It does.
You know, and so it's like he knew me
Yeah.
before he knew me.
Yeah. That's so interesting, dude. That's almost as interesting, if not more interesting, than the Jake thing. Like, you were in the military listening to him, and all these years later, we're sitting here now.
Yep.
It's fucking weird.
Isn't it wild?
Awesome, but
Life.
strange, interesting.
It is interesting.
It's mythological. You can't.
Couldn't have planned it.
You can't. You can't turn a blind eye to stuff like that.
Dude, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Speaking of, I want to bring up that mythological thing. I was talking about that with somebody, but we'll get to that. I just got to take this note. Sorry. I'm always like throwing shit in there like, oh, cool idea. So you're saying start over. So for the people that don't know, what do you mean start?
Well, just his story, just like we usually do. Like, know him.
I know. I just want to like talk about all the shit.
Yeah.
But we'll get there. We'll get there. God damn it.
Use that, use what we just got to as kind of like the anchor point that we're going to work back to. So just reverse engineer it.
Because we'll talk about more of like our hanging out together, different experiences and stuff. But now they know how we met. Sean, take us back a little bit. How far back you want to go? Just let the viewers get to know who you are, because that's what we do, is keep it personal and just share your past, as much as you want, and just some of your upbringing and what led you to where you're at today.
Well, I'm an Air Force brat.
Hoo-ah? I think we said hoo-ah.
Aim high. Is it still aim high?
Fly, fly, win. Or fight, fly, win. Aim high. Yeah, they say aim high.
Aim high, yeah.
Anyways.
And we lived all over we lived both in the Deep South and also all over the Pacific. Nice. Throughout my father's stint as a C-130 pilot.
Nice.
Whoa, C-130 pilot.
Banff, right?
That's a big one.
Pretty dope.
Yeah.
So speaking of the Pacific, where were you born?
Man, I was born, speaking of hospitals, I was born on Clark Air Force Base in Angeles City, Philippines, in Pampanga. in '84, and by the early '90s, that entire area was taken out by a volcanic eruption, Mount Pinatubo,
Wild.
Pompeii style.
Do you think you had something to do with that thing erupting? Like after you were born, you set off some kind of plate
Sorry, not sorry.
and the lava got all crazy. It was like, Sean Hudson's here. You know?
He said, "Look, I may have. It is what it is."
I mean,
I mean,
I did become a bass player.
yeah,
So
we can only
low end.
we can only speculate, but I got a feeling
That is really fucking wild, though. That whole place.
that's nuts.
well, I mean, like it's since then recovered, of course, but
Were you guys
it-
there
it-
when that happened?
no, we were not. We were in Arkansas by that time, and the rest of our family didn't. They didn't live. That's right. They didn't live in that immediate vicinity anymore.
That's good.
Yeah. But in let's see, what was it? 2016, I think we went back and we visited that area, and a lot of it's, they've revamped that base, but it's not the same.
Yeah.
And the Air Force didn't really, I don't know. It's like just a BX now or something.
No, really.
Basically.
Go get some cheap liquor.
Yeah. San Miguel. Don't drink that. It's cut with like formaldehyde.
Nice. That's the good stuff.
Right.
It's shit that gets you a good buzz.
And mummifies you from the inside out.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we drove by that hospital, and it's like dilapidated, but still there. It's just a husk of. And what's funny is like maybe 10 years before that, even I remember I was at a friend's place and I was walking through the living room, and they like his mom really was obsessed with that ghost adventures, or like those ghost hunting bullshit reality
Just
shows.
that kind of stuff, yeah.
Yeah, and then I was walking through the room, and then all of a sudden, like I was like, wait, the location is Clark Air Force Base, Angeles City Hospital. So I'm like watching them walk through, investigate this haunted hospital.
So they thought you were like a spirit.
Yeah, but I was just like, hey, oh shit, that's
You're like,
that's where I was born.
We saw its figure. We saw
It was the man who made the volcano erupt. Look, he's back. Everyone run.
They see your fucking music video. They're just like going into like compulsions. They're like, oh my God.
They just
The ghost.
spontaneously combust. It just makes everybody pull a scanner. So they're just like,
I mean, pretty much. Pretty much. That's exactly what
my
happens.
God.
And see, that's the metal side. Guys, you got to. It's okay.
all right.
He's just super metal.
No. That was cool to see my birthplace as some kind of haunted grounds.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I got to laugh. He said, it's cool to see my birthplace as some haunted ground. Like, most people would be like, oh, I love that there's flowers everywhere.
How beautiful it is.
Oh, it's beautiful. They upgraded it. He's like, it's a haunted ground. I'm so
some
stoked about
avoided place.
So you moved around all the time. Whenever you were
All the time, man. Philippines, Hawaii, Arkansas twice, Guam for the 2 worst years of my entire life.
What was that?
Dude, okay, so we moved. My dad had orders to Guam.
I was just going to ask you real quick too. What time is this? Like middle school, high school?
This is like Guam was the beginning of 7th grade, 7th and 8th grade.
Gotcha.
And right before that was 4 years, 4 of the most blissful years of my life, 4th grade through 6th grade in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Going to this real small, really nice little private school on the other side of the island, the more lush. We live on Hickam Air Force Base, which was a beautiful Air Force Base.
Yeah, I got a buddy that's going back there for another like 4.
And
Or he's going to
jealous.
retire from there. Yeah. Anyways.
But yeah, and so like, Guam, whatever. I guess I assumed because, it was in the same same part of the globe, it'd be a similar experience. But no, Hawaii is beautiful and just absolutely unreal. And at the time I was so, you know, I didn't have any responsibilities or anything. I wasn't, you know, jaded yet. And we went on field trips, what seemed like weekly, and we just had a hands-on education.
Yeah.
In nature, you know, and around the ocean and stuff. But Guam is constantly ravaged by hurricanes. So it's like this little, it should be like Alcatraz or something. It should be just made into this.
But there shouldn't be people living there like that. Is that what you're saying?
Parts of it are cool, but I mean, like, I don't know. Just like,
Does Hawaii have
I
issues?
think the time in which I lived there also contributed to just like that transition from like elementary school to like
Yeah, you were dealing with a lot of
to middle
transitions.
school.
Yeah.
It was like, and like the schools the school that I went to initially in Guam was like, it was like there were like multiple classes for every grade, and I wasn't used to that, and so it was like an institution, you know, and there were a lot of, and I don't know, it was very. I mean, it was a front for the Korean mafia. Let's get real. You know?
The school was?
Yeah, absolutely.
Damn, the school was a front?
Well, in hindsight, I'm like,
How do you front? I mean, how do you even, like, what's the mechanism you would do that with a school?
oh man, well, I don't know. Like most of because half the kids were the kids of people who are Koreans who had businesses in the tourist industry there downtown, and no way in hell were they going to send their kid to the Guam in the Guam public school
Public
system.
schools, yeah. Gotcha.
So
Interesting.
yeah, it was tough. That was a really brutal place, really unforgiving. So whereas like right before that, you know, it was like
Paradise.
paradise and like yeah, dolphins, botanical gardens.
So did you guys get hit with a hurricane while you were there?
We did.
What was that experience like?
Like right after we moved there. I
Damn.
mean, it was like it was called Hurricane Paca, and we were out of electricity and water for like what felt like months, and I still had to do my homework.
I'd be pissed.
I wouldn't be pissed. I was
They were like, there's candlelight, ain't there? Get on it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucked.
What's the? I'm sorry, I'm just asking a bunch of questions, but like, what's the right after, like the aftermath of a hurricane? Like, are there people? Okay, I was about to say
FEMA hell.
Gotcha. That's what. They send FEMA in.
And they just
Yeah,
take
they
over.
did.
Yeah.
And I don't know how all that really works, but I just know that like once we did get electricity and water, it was only for a few hours a day, and you had to make the best of it, and you know, we roughed it. That's what you do. But all the houses on the Air Force Base were built like bomb shelters for that very reason. So all we had to do was just close the shutters and
Go
hold it up
inside.
for a while.
Damn.
Yeah, you could hear it though.
Yeah.
going past, and that was sick. That
Yeah.
was sick. Do you have you seen
The way he did his liver there, he's like, I fucking loved it.
No, have you seen Conan the Barbarian? Have you seen Conan the Barbarian?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm just gonna spoil this one part for
You
you.
need to watch it.
It's okay.
And there's this one part where these evil spirits try to steal his body, you know, in the middle of the night, and it's all like, you know, it gets all windy and stuff, and you see like their, you know, primitive 80s graphics, and these like demonic type of like apparition type of entities try and like steal his body and everything, and this just the sound of like the windy type of swooshing and stuff. Like it was that going through that hurricane reminded me of that scene.
So
Yeah,
everybody,
because I mean I was raised on that film. You know, we wore that VHS out as a kid.
so for those of you that haven't seen Conan that are watching this, tune in, go get it. Go. It's on Netflix or something.
Do yourself a favor.
Do yourself a favor. That's your assignment before next episode. I'm gonna have a pop quiz. I'm not doing that. So no,
But that it sounded like that was happening outside.
that's dope. I always liked when tornadoes were flying. Like we get tornadoes around here, and I think it's pretty cool, man. Like we had a tornado recently that went right past the exit here.
Yeah, I did. I remember that now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're at the house, and I was just like standing out back in my rain jacket.
Oh yeah, because I remember texting you that night. You had water in here too.
Yeah,
Right?
I talked about this lightning bolt to Lydia for like a week straight. I was like, that lightning bolt was huge. It was just one lightning bolt. It was like the biggest lightning bolt I've ever fucking seen. And it struck like right in front of me, and I was like, oh shit, I thought it was cool as fuck. Anyways,
so funny.
I like some storms. I mean, yeah, I don't want a tornado ripping through my house, but I mean, the weather and stuff around it is pretty, it's kind of haunting because you're like, man, this shit could take me out. But at the same time, it's like so powerful. That's what makes it cool. Like you just realize, I don't know, the power that nature has. And I love that shit.
Right.
You got people wanting to take over the world and into us. Well, guess what? Fucking super tornado comes ripping through everywhere. You're fucked too.
Nice try.
Nice try.
Tornadoes are fascinating because like you hear stories about them like ripping through a house, but there'll be like a book that was like not moved. Like somebody will set their book down before they go to bed. The next morning their house is fucking destroyed and the book is still there.
Tornado's like,
How the fuck is it? Like, how is that possible?
It's a sign.
Tornado looks like, that's a good read.
How's
Let that guy stay. Oh, it's Lord of the Rings. Leave it. So
those couple of years in Guam, you said 6th and 7th or 7th and 8th?
7th and 8th.
7th and 8th. So then high school, where were you at?
And then my dad retired in 99. And while we were in the Pacific, we had a house back in Arkansas where we lived before we moved to Hawaii in 93. We lived in Arkansas. So Philippines, 84 to 86, 86 to 93 in Arkansas, 93 to 97 in Hawaii, 97, 99 Guam. And then my dad retired, and we decided to move back to Arkansas, kick the tenants out of the house that we previously had that we rented out while we were in the Pacific, move back in, and start over.
All right, as always, this episode is brought to you by Relentless Pursuit Lifestyle.com. Check out Relentless Pursuit there for all of our apparel and everything else we got going on. To find us on Instagram, you look at, I can't talk right now, at Relentless_Pursuit. And for all the headquarters stuff at Relentless Pursuit _HQ. Definitely check out our Patreon. So what that is a platform that allows us to get a little bit more personal. We do Q&A. We do Saturday Cup of Joe. We do extra episodes for those that are included. So you're getting a lot more content there. Logan and I record, we put out 2 episodes a month based on whatever subscription you get. We're going to be bringing out exclusive apparel and a number of other things as we move forward. So we'd like to be there and on that platform and just connected with everybody that's, wanting more. So check that out at patreon.com/The Relentless Pursuit Podcast. Thank you. And over to you.
And I'm Sean Hudson from the Austin, Texas-based black death metal band Serpentian. You can check us out at serpentian666.bandcamp.com. And I'm here because Joe's my best friend.
So what I failed to bring up is why Sean is here. Sean is here for Midsommar. So I have, as y'all know, I have my Hurry crew, my brothers in that. And, but we got our crew down here, but we got guys that are part of this circle, all over the place, Sean being one of them. And so naturally, he gets invited out to Midsommar every year, and we get we had like 5 other people in town for that flew in, and then along with the rest of the crew. So yeah, he came in for Midsommar, and we had our Hurry Midsommar celebration this past weekend, and dude, it was a fucking blast.
Unforgettable, as per usual. This is for me, this is the 3rd in a row annually with Joe and his bros.
And they've all been memorable.
And everyone's more magical than the last.
Dude, there's nothing like it, man. And I didn't know, with Ozzy here, obviously I'd take some time away from Moot and stuff like that. But getting back to monthlies come next month. But I didn't know how bad I needed ritual with my brothers, right? Like just that holds so much power, especially being Midsommar,
Right.
Yeah. So we got together at my brother Jake's land, a little bit west of here, southwest somewhat.
Oh, next to the damn it. Amish, the Amish people.
Yeah.
In a little Amish town.
It's
I
awesome.
swear to God, I almost said autistic.
Well, I mean,
That's
maybe.
us.
Yeah, that's us.
that was you guys. Oh, okay. Because I heard about the Amish and the autistic that were out there this weekend. But okay, gotcha.
But yeah, so we got together for that, man. It was a pretty powerful time. Like every year, it's been somewhere different. The last few years, so it's been cool to kind of mix up the scenery and just like claim somewhere new. But it was fucking powerful, bro. Did you have a good time?
I had a hell of a time. Yeah. Just that, God, it had been a full year since my last moot, and the last one was last year's Midsommar, and I always come back
Yeah,
just
fired up.
charged, man.
It charged you up for life, you know.
For life, dude. It charges you up it fortifies you
After I
to
recovered,
take just anything on.
exactly. After I recovered for a couple of days because I always come back really exhausted too because I'm not sleeping, and I indulge a little bit. You know, I don't drink really ever. I drink some wine here and there. I don't do any of that shit. And, I
Same.
get to bed at a decent time. I get up early every day. Weekends, just pretty relaxed. Even if I have a lot going on, like I'm still strict on those ends and, being up till 3 a.m, like a few bottles of wine in, smoking a whole pack of American spirits.
Right.
It's like,
That'll get you if you haven't done that in a while.
yeah, that took a toll on me, bro.
The cigarettes, I like to do that too sometimes when I drink, but you feel it.
Yeah. But it's just like, that's my time. Like, I don't know. I've got discipline. I come home, I'm disciplined, and then I could go back to mood eventually. And then I let loose for the weekend. And some people may say, oh, smoking and drinking. It's like, no different than you going to the bar every weekend or whatever. I mean, it's totally different situation.
Totally different.
But you get what I'm saying. I mean, I indulge there. That's my time to like get out all those things, I guess you could say, because like it's all about discipline and staying on the righteous path.
And
So
it's strange because and like Joe, I hardly drink,
yeah.
but get to moot with my bros. There's just something about that energy.
Yep.
It just goes with it.
It just goes with
something
it.
about the weird.
But we're all disciplined like that. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like all the guys there, like we live the same kind of life. We just have different avenues. So when it's that time, it's that time. We just like, all right, cool. And I probably ate at least like a pie and a half of key lime pie to myself.
Oh yeah, dude. And that
A pint and a half to my ice cream.
No, a pie and a
Oh,
half.
a pie and a half.
Yeah, Lydia made like 4 pies, and I'm pretty sure I had like a whole one to myself.
That might be worse.
which Lydia, I love you, sister, and that buffalo chicken casserole and the breakfast casserole and of course the key lime pie. I'd been craving that since last Midsommar.
Yeah, it's so good.
I bet when you're out there too, you've been drinking and you've been putting out all that energy. Once you get to that food, I bet it's something else.
It's therapeutic.
Yeah, Lydia made a bunch of stuff, and so did Jake's wife, and so we were well fed the entire time. It was dope. Yeah, we stayed fed well, but we got out there Friday. It took me a little longer to get out there, but I got out there Friday, and I got a tattoo on my leg, like holding my daughter. I don't know if you saw that on my. Logan's just like not here. No,
I'm sorry.
I got a tattoo while
I was texting me about my car.
No, it's okay. I got a tattoo while I was holding Ozzy getting tattooed.
That's awesome.
Friday night. It was a pretty cool little experience. I'm sure some people would like disapprove. Like, I posted it and I was like, man, I better put the disclaimer that, only 18 more years till she gets one with me because someone's going to fucking say, oh, this guy's getting his daughter tattooed.
Jesus fuck.
But like to me,
baby.
To me, it's a cool thing because Midsommar is one of the most important times of year for me and our people and like, our beliefs. So, having my family there and like, while like, that most of the time they were in the cabin, Lydia was taking care of her. They just wanted to be there present with me, but having them there and like having my daughter there and getting tattooed, like I love getting tattooed, obviously. And then, getting tattooed at my friend's house with holding her, I thought it was just like a cool little experience.
Yeah, if somebody
I
thinks
got a
that you
picture of it. I'm gonna show it to her like 15 years down the road. I'm like, yeah, this is when like right after you was born.
I posted that clip of Ozzy on YouTube a couple days ago, and I was thinking about that. That's so crazy. Like she's just a little newborn. She's like 3 weeks old in that video, and it's like out in the world now. It's crazy.
Yeah, she's gonna have a lot of different experiences.
Kind of scary,
that's for sure.
But, you know.
But yeah, we had fun. We were up that night, and then we got a little weird, little trippy. You know what I mean?
Enhanced.
Yeah, I got overly enhanced. I was like freaking the fuck out for a little bit. But anyways, so we had a really good time Friday night for sure. But Saturday was the shit, man. I think what topped it all off was like the whole ritual thing. And it's cool. Like I kind of want to talk about it to people just so they have kind of a glimpse of that. But, Saturday is pretty easy. You got anything to say on that?
I just... the ritual was as if it was painted.
That's what I like to hear.
Like as it was happening, what was before my eyes was something that couldn't ever properly be captured on film.
Mm-mm. National Geographic couldn't do it.
No, and there's just something about those fires and that moon and those trees.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was powerful. Yeah, we did.
It's ancient.
It is ancient. We're creating our own myth, and
But it's also the future.
it is.
Because the future is ancient.
It is. Men against time. Men against time, baby. But what's cool about it is like we started off the ritual by like going around the maypole. Some of us went and did a sacrifice at the maypole, and that's like a tree. That's basically where we create all the energy for the ritual, and
Focal point.
Yep, focal point, and had everybody holding hands, like kind of going in circles around it. But like in the midst of that, within that circle, there was like different combat stuff going on. So there's a couple like jiu-jitsu matches and a few boxing matches. And I actually was going to sit this one out because I was like, man, I'm always getting in there for some boxing or some shit like that. Like I'm just gonna I'm not gonna do the physical, like the combat stuff today. I don't know. Like I'm always in it. And then like by the end of like that last boxing match, I went out to my boy Cody and I was like, hey man, let's box. Like I can't not do it. And to me, it was like, that's a sacrifice. That's creating that energy. That's creating that intention. And the whole time I'm going around, I'm like, why the fuck aren't I in there? Like I just had a daughter, I need to create as much positive energy as I can. I need to sacrifice as much as I can because she's here now. And this makes it more meaningful. So I was like, fuck it, let's get in there. We had a good 5-round match and, 5 rounds, one match. I was exhausted by the end. I was like, shit.
3 minute, 2 minute rounds?
No, it was just 1 5-minute round.
1 5-minute round. Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
And that was after running in circles.
That alone was
for like 20 minutes.
To myself, I was just like,
yeah.
you need to get on that cardio when you get home.
Yeah, right,
bro.
And then we then we kind of prepared for the rest, dude. We finished that, and then we went down to the Vey, which is like their little ritual area where the altars are and stuff, the fires. And we ashed up like our main crew, and we brought everybody down there, and we did a really cool ritual for everybody and spoke some powerful words. And then we ended up back in the field and burned the sun wheel. And then we had Stumble. We went around, passed some meat around the fire, and shared some positive, very impactful words there. Everybody got something to say there. And then it was just a party.
The ways we uphold.
Yep. We sent some guys on like a mission. We sent Jesse and I will talk about this, but we sent him on a special ops mission at like midnight across a pond with our prospect, Jax. And they had to get, let's just say they had to get air delivered. We needed air support. This is because I was one of the generals, so we were the exhausted ones putting this plan together, but we had to have them air delivered into their submarine vessel.
So were you like, for lack of a better term, playing war, basically? Like, were you legitimately like?
I know we just made these two
in
do
these
all the
roles,
work.
or you just?
This was purely entertainment for us, and we made these two do this.
I thought you were like, all right, it's time for war games, and I'm the general, and you're the private. And
Oh
you're
no. It's puppetry.
Yeah, it's puppetry. It's just
prospect puppetry.
It's just hazing. But sent them in their little vessel, which was a really fancy submarine known as a horse trough. With shovels as paddles, and
that would have made it to the Titanic. That one,
and they made it. They had to go across and bring the flag, and then we had to call them back because we got telegrams and emails from the enemy, and we had to do multiple missions. But they finally accomplished it, and then Brad and I ate a whole pie in the laundry room away from everybody because we didn't want anybody else seeing us.
that sounds like a lot of fuckery.
That's all like some of the main points I remember. But no, it was just overall a powerful time, and I like sharing that with people because, I talk about the spiritual stuff a lot on this podcast, and it's cool to have a platform where most people that are following and stuff like respect that. I don't get any kind of criticism. I mean, you get random comments like "you're going to hell," and I'm like, thanks. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what that's supposed to do, but at the end of the day, it's cool to kind of like share that side of our lives with people.
Kind of weird to threaten somebody with something they don't believe in.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's like, good one. Good one. Yeah, I swear to God.
Hell, never heard of her.
Listen, if you don't start acting right, Santa Claus is not going to fucking bring you any presents this year.
Well, guess what? I always get presents.
You know what I mean? No, that's like a legit threat for a child because they believe in Santa Claus.
Yeah.
You can't say that to somebody after they don't believe in Santa Claus. You're like, I don't fucking, what?
Yep, exactly.
Tooth Fairy don't give a shit about your teeth.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. But so anyways, that was Midsommar. And like that's pretty much lumps it up, but like that's why Sean's here. That's why Tom was here. So you'll see the episode. Actually, not the episode before this will be the giving episode, but before that,
well, good.
Anyways, talk about that. But yeah. So that's why Tom was here, and amongst the other guys that obviously aren't here now. But yeah, so it was fucking powerful. Anything else you want to add before we get into your story?
No, that is one of the. I hate to say the word convenient, but it's one of the most ideal ways for me to kind of consolidate and see my chosen family all at once, and share something truly special to us, but also, so vital to our own individual paths.
Yep.
That crossing that distance, making the effort,
yep,
and everything, it's expected. Mm-hmm. That's part of our life. That is what we do.
Yep.
It's tradition and fire. And just because I live in Austin, Texas, it's crossing that distance and making the effort and preparing yourself to be with your people who are, in their daily lives, hundreds and hundreds of miles apart.
Yep.
It's mythological.
Yeah, dude, and it's the fact that like we're able to. Because we know so many people, like I said, all these guys are from all over. Like, it's a perfect time for us all to get together at once,
right?
Because we're sharing that similar purpose.
And we always, and the point is, and when we go so long without seeing each other, we hope, that we're all in better places than we were last year. We've all leveled up. We're always, we never reconvene regressed.
Yep.
And I couldn't be more proud.
I couldn't be more fucking proud. What do you think, Logan? I invited Logan out.
Yeah, I was going to say it's usually within like a minute or two of him telling the parts about how they haze people is when he asked me why I didn't come. Every time. Every fucking time, dude. He'll be like, yeah, dude, I beat the shit out of myself, or I fucking busted my knee. I had to have fucking surgery, and then we did this to this guy, we did this to this guy.
Logan think it was just going to kill him.
And then, but it's just funny because he always asks me why I didn't go right after he tells the part about all the crazy shit that they did to the prospects. And I'm like, bro, you're not really, you're leading in with the part that I wouldn't, that part. And I'm like, hard sell.
Maybe next year.
But I joke. In all seriousness, I even listen to you talk about the traveling. Like that makes a lot of sense to me. It's, like you were saying, I think you used that word earlier. It's like an odyssey, right? Like you're literally a pilgrimage. It's like you're coming from Austin, right? It's
100%.
Like,
I enjoy that.
A spiritual journey.
Yeah. So to quote the Havamal, which is pretty much Odin's word, it's a long and crooked road to a bad friend, even if close, even if nearby, but it's a good road to a good friend, or it's a short road to a good friend. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Something along those lines, but basically saying that like, even if someone's next door, if they're a shitty friend,
right?
It's like this weird path. But if it's a good friend, it's always fucking worth it, no matter how far you got to travel.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I've always remembered, and I love that. I love that. It's one of my favorite out of there, actually, because it's just definitely very relevant in my life. So it's cool. But
So Midsommar,
baby. Go for it.
I was just gonna say, have you heard of the movie that came out a couple years ago?
Midsommar. I want to watch it.
So is that
I've yet to watch
that loaded question here? But is that related? Is that for lack of a better term? I don't want to say offensive because I know you're not like that, but you know what I mean. Like, is it kind of?
Those things are comical to us.
Okay, that's kind of. Do you see my question though? Like, is that when they come out with a fucking horror film called Midsommar?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
what's your reaction to that?
So they do have like big festivals in different countries, especially Scandinavian countries, that like they kind of gather all just anybody that wants to come. You know, ours is definitely more like our circle of people, because we want that, because we all know it's going to be that same kind of energy and intention shared too, right? So if you just let anybody walk in, you know, you don't know what their intentions are within, right? They could be wearing a mask the whole time, and you don't want that a part of that, you know? And so, but also, like, I will say from what I've seen in that movie, like,
I don't even know what
like,
it's about.
Like the flower crowns, like we wear flower crowns. Like aesthetically, it's traditional for sure, but I don't know.
Like they pull from that for the aesthetic at least.
Yeah. But then it's like all sacrifice.
I mean, that's kind of the thing is kind of where I'm getting at too, though. It seems like that's like, right? It's like, oh, it's Midsommar, which means these crazy people sacrificed all this fucking shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Well,
like that's kind of like
you see how we abuse people that are our friends there. So what does that mean for guests? That's why I didn't come.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Oh my god.
No, but
you think his cardio's bad? Wait till you see him on.
But you know, we all in our own way, we offer our own sacrifices through like combat and blood and stuff like that. So
yeah,
nowadays you don't really sacrifice people. Maybe a couple years ago.
You know, and I think part of
we're past the statute of limitations, so we can talk about that.
The libation things with like, you know, how we kind of touched on earlier about how, you know, you really drink much at home, but when we get there, it's just something about the energy. You can just keep going. Yeah. You can just throw it, you just throw shit back, and it's strange because it's like at home and like, you know, I'd be barfing.
Yeah.
But, and so like, I think there's some of that goes into the sacrifice aspect as well.
Yeah, without a doubt. Hell yeah.
You got about 10 minutes left in this segment if you want to jump back to the story.
All right. So
last time we checked in with you, you
just moved to Arkansas from Guam.
Yep. I just moved to Arkansas from Guam. Yeah, okay. And then high school happened. And so being raised on 80s horror and action and science fiction from the 50s on and stuff, I was a geek, man. Still am. Dinosaur obsessed. Still. And I wanted to go into the special effects field. Like I wanted to work with animatronics. You know, I wanted to like build. You know, I wanted to make monsters, tangible monsters.
Yeah.
And I drew all the time, and I was really into storyboarding and things like that, and in sculpting and making my own models and stuff. But there's something happened in high school. I just, even though like listening to traditional heavy metal, you know, Dio, Sabbath, Dawkins, Priest, Wasp, music was never really a priority to me until high school, and I was exposed to more extreme forms of that, and something threw a switch. And it was like the passion and talent or whatever that went toward, you know, drawing and stuff and sculpting and things. I I don't know, overnight I was like, nah, I don't want to go to Kansas City Art Institute anymore. I just want to do like the minimum required to get high school just the fuck behind me so I could start thrashing, you know? Like, I don't know. You know,
That's crazy.
And so I formed my own projects and stuff with people whose dreams weren't as big as mine. So of course those always fell by the wayside. But yeah, I started to learn how that stuff was played. And in Arkansas, I actually, unlikely place at the time, met a few other cats that were kind of into the same thing, you know, and actually could already play it.
They could shred, dog.
They could, and like at the time, I was like, man, I want to too, but I don't know how. So,
You know, some would
I
say
cut my teeth with them.
Oh shit! I was going to say some would say that that's what heavy metal does to you. It steals your soul, and you dedicate your life to it. What would you? No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, I do want to.
It single-handedly backfired my Baptist upbringing.
I do want to. Kind of what we were talking about on the break about me being like a kindergartner when it comes to all this.
Yeah.
So on breaking it down like a little bit simpler, what was it about this particular genre that appealed to you so much? And whenever you said you learned how it was played and stuff, like, can you break down a little bit like what we were talking about? Like,
Good question.
Because a lot of people hear, and you hear like lyrics and themes and mythology and like all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. So the having been, you know, just, exposed to, or not previously exposed to more extreme forms.
Yeah.
You know, at first I was like, God, I was like, when I first heard like Cannibal Corpse,
Yeah.
for the first time, I was like, wait, you're telling me that like this guy does this for the whole song, for the whole album?
Right.
And there's like decades of albums of this. What the hell? Yeah. And
Cannibal Corpse is
I
just,
think that's the exact untrained ears
Yeah.
reaction. Is like, what is this?
But I kind of relate it to when you're a kid and you see a horror movie, and like the first time I saw Pumpkinhead when I was 4, and my dad, it had just hit VHS. My dad rented it. We decided we were going to watch that for Halloween and then hand out candy for the trick-or-treaters. And that movie scarred my 4-year-old mind. And, you know, I was petrified initially, but then there was just something about it that made me go back. You know, the fear became fascination. You know, and then I wasn't, you know, I wasn't like scared of it. I thought it was fucking sick. And I just wanted more.
Is it kind of like a high? Like an adrenaline junkie, how they enjoy that? Like, do you enjoy being, like, afraid, I guess, for lack of a better term? Not afraid, but, like, you know what I mean? Like, whenever...
No, I mean, like, well, this is like, I'm just trying to...
yeah. I guess I'm just saying, like, when you came back to it, was that, like, almost to get that feeling again, that rush of the...
Maybe not. I think it was more of just a comfort
Gotcha.
thing, and curiosity and like fascination.
So the opposite.
Like at first, I was like startled by
Right.
you know, by everything, and like just when he grabs Maggie and he like carves the cross in her Christian forehead, yeah, and then like throws her through a window. As a kid, you're like. But then I wanted to watch it again, and then the obsession
That's awesome.
with things like that grew and grew and grew, and so like it was the same kind of thing with upon my exposure to extreme metal. At first, you're just like, what, and then it's like, wait,
Yeah.
it evolves. You like evolve with it. You listen to more and more. You find this. That's how it was for me too. Like finding just this, being raised on like heavy metal and stuff like that. You know, hair metal and all that. You know, you're already acclimated to like that louder sound. You know, and like you like the instruments and you know like how it all comes together. And then it just gets like crazier and more extreme. And at first, yeah, I totally remember like at first you're like, what the fuck, man, there's a lot. And
yeah,
then
it's just an insane wall of sound at first.
Yeah, but then you become fascinated with that extremity in it, you know, and then you're like, you start to fucking listen more and more, and then you're like, dude, I love this shit. And then you then you just understand it.
Yeah, take me into that though. Take me into the layers into it, not behind the wall of sound.
Oh, it's like classical music, and
Oh, interesting.
basically is
It is.
I would have never.
harmonization, orchestration, counterpoint, melodies weaving in and out with like lower end kind of keeping steady, chord progression wise and stuff, and then being able to, sometimes you'll ride on a part, but what'll shine will be the drumming, and there will be this internal momentum within the movement of the riff carried by the percussion. I'll just sound like a moron trying to explain it right now, but
I thought it sounded cool.
No, yeah, no,
I was like, damn, okay.
Don't sound like a moron. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
No, because you sound passionate. You like,
Yeah.
it's you're the way you explain it is from a place of like pure passion and joy and love for it.
100%.
yeah. And
So like a lot of people can't explain anything that way, but you explain it in like a poetic way because you do play it and you've dedicated most of your life, your whole life to it. You know what I'm saying? Most of it.
yeah, from that point on, basically from I think maybe I want to say 2000, 2001.
Yeah.
And so like around that time, actually, the turn of the century, shit, all of our favorite bands released all of our favorite albums by those bands
The golden age.
around that time. And dude, it was, and we had no idea.
Yeah, you never do, right? Till it's gone.
No.
Till you get the next generation of music, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Well, don't get me wrong. There's some really good shit out nowadays.
Well, there's some really
coming
good stuff out now, too, but,
a lot
like-
of the albums I refer, like I go
Yeah,
back to, are
yeah.
from that time frame.
I think everybody maybe has like that age or that era for them,
Yeah,
and I guess that was mine.
that was it.
So we're about to cut off here, but just to try to encapsulate for my dumb brain, because you're the expert speaking. You don't sound like a moron. I'm the dummy that's asking all the questions. But so whenever you were giving the classical analogy, you're saying the structure of the music itself is basically classical music, like it's structured very similarly.
Well, I mean, you just the more you listen to it, if you're of the spirit that's fascinated by it, that becomes fascinated by it. You just want to dig further and further. Like for example, okay, I'm flying home this evening, but tomorrow I'm driving to Dallas to see Emperor for the first time. This is my first opportunity to see them. And they're one of my favorite bands and one of my first major influences. Their music is they've always been considered maestros.
Yeah.
For sure. I mean, at the top of the genre, and their musicianship is, it's,
And how long they been playing?
I mean, early 90s.
Yeah, so-
Actually, probably, I'm sorry, like late 80s, probably.
I will nerd out about that, but I will say that I tell him all the time, I was like, I truly believe that we have no concept whatsoever of what we're doing right now. Like none.
That's beautiful, right?
Like when our great grandkids are watching these episodes, then maybe we'll understand. And still probably won't. You know what I mean? But like, I'm 27 years old right now. You're, early 30s. Like whenever you're fucking 65, these will be here. Nobody's ever lived through that. No one ever has had what we have at the time in our lives that we have it. Camera technology, video technology, audio technology. Like whenever my grandfather was growing up, the radio was the biggest thing around. And like we were talking about on the Patreon, if you wanted to just have your own fucking radio show 10, 15, 20 years ago, how the fuck would you go about that?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, how would you even go about that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't fucking know. Like, but nowadays you sit down, we do this, and now we got, hundreds of hours of you talking about, it's like a living journal.
Pretty fucking neat.
And you don't have to like get a degree
Exactly.
for it,
The barrier to entry is zero. Well, the money to make the setup, and the skill set. But you know what I mean? Generally speaking, it's very, very low.
Yeah. And you got to have the look. Just kidding.
That's what I was talking about with
But then you
Ozzy,
got to
though.
have like obviously you got to have like the personality for it to connect with people and have conversation and whatnot as well.
You're no one if you're just another.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Like we all have pictures of us growing up and stuff.
Exactly.
But we don't have this.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking rad. But anyways,
or anything like it.
let's go to carry on. I'm stoked.
That's why I love vlogging. I also do that on my channel. You were asking me earlier. I didn't mention that, but vlogging is like where I'll just go do like Midsommar, like probably not that because it's more private, but where I would just film that whole time and then make like a fucking video out of it. Like that's one of my favorite things because I can go back and it's like I'm reliving that memory and I'm gonna have those for 80 years of my life.
It'd be cool if you came to a Midsommar ritual and just got like a glimpse, like did a little preview. Or did like
I'd just sell it to Vice.
And then edit it all together.
Sell device.
Edit it all together like a slasher.
Sell it to Vice, baby.
That's so funny.
That's what I've been working towards. I just can't wait for you to ask me for that. I'm selling out.
I'd be like, this fucking traitor. Dude, can't yet. Sometimes you know what? I'm gonna be thinking that now.
Stop it.
Yeah,
Stop it.
Now I
don't even think the Vice is.
Great.
I think Vice is fucking bankrupt anyways.
Great, like then I gotta watch my back. Yeah, they probably are stupid. But anyways, so back to the metal and the maestros.
Yes.
And then I don't know where we were going from there.
Well, I can kind of continue on with what I was saying. Is that
I was asking about the
still
appeal. The
fresh in
appeal.
my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
You're good.
the appeal of it.
For you, well, you were also just breaking down like the music, the music itself.
The music itself is more complicated, than top 40 bullshit.
It's a fact.
And at the time I was like, when music started to become a priority and I was looking for something, I wanted more out of the music that was accessible
Yeah.
to me. And I found a whole new dimension of that with what I came to discover as black and death metal. I mean, it takes some know-how to pull off. And live, it takes some physicality as well, in our case, anyway. And in the case of all the most badass bands from back in the day.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So when you said you were looking for more, you mean more meaning, more message,
There was just,
substance?
yeah, more substance.
Yeah.
More substance.
So where's the substance come from?
Well, what I dug about these bands is the kind of stuff they talked about. A lot of it was steeped in mythology, the occult, and history. So it was a thinking man's music. Not to say that there aren't some majorly meat-headed aspects about it,
Yeah.
which are some of my favorite. But
It's a good way to put it, though. What it was steeped in. You know what I'm saying? With the mythology and whatnot.
That's what I was kind of trying to get.
That's what people don't understand, too.
That's what I'm trying to pull a little
Yeah.
bit because it's like that's the part that's fascinating that I think that it'd be hard to understand unless you have like the kind of ear for it that you got to.
really, and honestly, like that set me up for kind of getting into what Joe and I are into and what's so ingrained in our lives as we know it now.
Yeah. It's like a big part of it for sure.
It's just kind of like
It is. I mean, just being at that age, which is being a high schooler and reading these lyrics, and then these names and these places and stuff that some of it might have been hinted on, maybe even in your in history class.
Yeah.
And stuff, and so I was really attracted to that kind of like educational almost
Yeah.
potential there.
Oh, yeah. I love it, dude.
it's fascinating.
Yeah. Does that answer your question, Luke?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude, and just the way that they, or we actually, I guess, express what we're talking about, what's being vocalized, the way that we express what's being vocalized with what we're doing with the instrumentation.
Yeah. In a very intense manner.
Like when you say this, like how do we, and then this part, and it sounds like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's fucking
like how do
cool.
we express this physically as well as with your voice, like physically with the instrument as well as with what you're saying? Is that what you're saying?
I mean, like the music sounds like what the lyrics are
Right. Gotcha.
describing.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It's the way that it paints. It's not just a beat with somebody rhyming over it.
Gotcha.
Somebody.
Yeah.
I like it.
I love it.
So you got into music at that point. Your whole life became about music at that point. You were in high school at that point. You said the last point in the story, I believe, was that you got connected with some people that didn't have the dreams that you had. Those things didn't work out.
Correct. And then I had to go elsewhere. I had to get the hell out of Arkansas. I mean, Arkansas is a good place to grow up and develop character, and then get the hell out because there's no opportunity.
Yeah.
Much less for what I wanted to pursue on a professional level.
Yeah.
So in 2006, 3 years after graduating high school, I moved to Austin, Texas to join Vesperian Sorrow, who had been based out of Austin since 97, I believe. And because my first attempts at bands were similar style to Vesperian Sorrow.
Yeah.
Keys. And I started off on keys, on synths, actually. A little piece of shit Casio that you paint black so nobody can see the
That's funny.
Yeah, or like throw a tarp off it and make it look all funereal. Yeah, and so dicking around with those bands gave me the experience to put me in a position where I wanted to get out of there, and I had the opportunity to join Vesperian Sorrow. And this was back in the age of MySpace, where they had put a post on looking for someone to do live keys, because they were just doing it with a sampler at the time. And so I moved, and I was in that band for 11 and a half years.
It's a long time.
And I learned a hell of a lot about not just the industry and other bands and everything. That band has high standards as far as guitar tone goes, and the way they put music together, at least on record. That my musicianship, I was able to, once things kind of like didn't really work out with that band, I was able to platform onto bigger and better projects with the experience that I earned through just learning how to be in that band.
Yeah.
Those guys. And I met John Visano from, he was probably Niall's most badass frontman. He was only in that band from 2001 to 2005, and he was like, Scorpion King on stage.
And Niall is known, for those of you who don't know, Niall is like one of the most...
You mentioned him earlier.
Most dominant, death metal bands.
Niall.
They're one of the most well-known, highly...
They carry a standard.
Accomplished, death metal bands. They're known
for sure,
worldwide for sure. But
as their earlier albums were, that was some of my first exposure.
So
to this.
During that time period you were talking about.
Mm-hmm. But in 2013, he and I we met, and we formed a studio project called Indefilade. It's mostly it's completely his brainchild. But we would FaceTime for 6 hours on end, Saturday mornings, just him at his console, and me on the couch with my bass, and then we'd put stuff together like that. And that was more by that time I was already, because around that time our bass player in Vesperian Sorrow, because for a while I was doing both for a while, left, and for some reason I was like, okay, if there's any other instrument, because I was such a shitty guitar player, if there's any other instrument I wanted to play besides synth, it was I wanted to move over to bass and try that. You know, because I don't know. I always just kind of was curious about that.
Yeah.
I was just like, man, I like them because you can be you can be rough.
Yeah.
With a bass.
Yeah.
You know? And relegating all keys to a live sampler live just made the live presentation of Vesperian Sorrow more guitar driven, less muddy, and we were just heavier. And
Even
yeah,
his burps are metal.
But yeah, so moving over to bass and picking that up actually really quick. I mean, at the first picking one up and like not having played one before, but like having the ambition and will to just like, I want to do this. Yeah, I just want to take this responsibility on out of necessity. And I want more room on stage. So no, I don't want to find another member.
Yeah.
No, I'll just do it.
Hell yeah.
Which I'm finding myself in that
Same
situation
Again,
Yeah.
yeah.
again. So yeah, this is the second time
So you
where like my talents are like tested on the fly.
Yeah.
I'm put in this position where I'm like, well, I'll do it.
Yeah.
well, you know you've done it before.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So there you go.
So you know, I'm going into it with confidence and fire this time.
So were you saying that you guys were producing songs over FaceTime?
That was our writing process.
That's awesome.
Yeah, with John Vasano.
That's awesome.
That was cool. That was where that was where the magic lied, definitely. With that project, because it's just studio based.
Yeah.
You know, and we released two brutal albums together, and we'll see if we do another one in the future. Never say never.
Yeah. Facts.
Life happens, and
Sometimes things got to take a pause.
basically,
Yeah.
or either a pause or it's just
Not meant to be.
either a chapter.
Yeah.
You know, but in 2016, I formed Serpentian with Stephen Watkins on guitar and John Zig on vocals. Those are guys that when I first joined Vesperian Sorrow, they'd been playing brutal death metal since they were like, I don't know, 10 or something. And they were always in bands together. Images of Violence and Sarcolytic after that. And then we had our drummer Kevin Elrod from Terrorism, Execration. He was Nightbringer's touring drummer for a while.
Sweet.
Yeah. We formed Serpentian in 2016. And that's my baby.
Oh yeah.
And so those are the guys minus the lead vocalist that you have now.
Now, yeah. So it's just the three of us.
So I wanted to ask a question about this too, with the bands that I was, as you were talking there. Now again, keep in mind I'm speaking from ignorance, but
I love it. Good. Please. I need the direction.
it does seem, or is it? I guess I should say, is it a common theme to like, for bands to get together, not be together, get together, like for you to go through multiple, what?
Oh yeah.
Fuckers are killing me.
Stop doing construction. Quit.
But yeah, so and second part of the question, I guess, is when you go to form a band, is it about do you and I get together and because we have a certain style, you get together? Like, how does that process even happen? Like that with the name, and like because I know all the names have a lot of, a lot of context to them and whatnot. So yeah, I guess 2-part question: is it common for bands to get together and dismember relatively frequently, and what's the process of kind of forming a band?
Yeah, it's definitely man. Lineups come and go. In Vesperian Sorrow, it was pretty often.
So why is that?
You know, some people, it's a question of drive. It's a question of priority and professionalism. It's a question of making the time and setting the standard for yourself and for the people around you that this is what you do. Be devoted. And, you know, or, you know, some people just want to be, some people just like to use bands to further their own selfish notoriety, you know, and so those people usually, they usually filter themselves out.
It's a lot of ego in those situations.
A lot of ego, a lot of ulterior motive or lack of motive.
Well, and then like
Mostly.
a lot of times the lifestyle that follows, that comes with the music industry as a whole. You know what I'm saying? Like just that, you know,
Can get to people.
It's a fact, like addiction, like drinking, like,
Yeah.
you know, all that stuff is a factor, especially people that are touring often and shit like that. Like,
Right.
you know, they got to keep going. You know, I've just seen it a million times. So you got to think like some people just get sucked into that so fucking hard too.
Dude,
I mean, there's documentaries about it. Somehow some of these
Fucking
bands have
everybody.
made it to be millionaires,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
like it doesn't make all that shit
Yeah,
any
yeah.
less real. Somehow
Yeah.
they can just get away with it.
So it does happen frequently. That answered that question. So on the positive side, when you go to form a new band, what is that process like?
Well, yeah, I mean, that was just the thing. That's what kind of, in my mind, sets Serpentian apart from just a normal band is that you have bands where you're together on a professional basis. Maybe you don't. Maybe not everybody gets along, but they're still able to maintain.
Do the job.
Yeah. And then you have bands like mine where it's a brotherhood. That's rare. And that's one of the reasons why me and the guys are just dead set on taking it as far as we can, because we know that first and foremost, we can rely on each other, not just to show up, but to show up and fucking bring it every time. It's never felt so good. It's
like
never. It's never been so serious yet so fun.
That's like me and Logan in the podcast world.
100%.
It's a fact.
Logan shows up and fucking brings it. Maybe not that intensely, but he does. You know, because he's there for the long haul, much like you guys, right? Like
It's a
there's
commitment to each
there's
other,
a certain
yeah.
level of commitment, especially when it's not a massive production.
100%.
You know, and especially when you're not like the biggest band in the world. Like
Right.
you got to find people that are committed and have that vision. You know, and that's one thing I talk
Right.
about a lot is
He
vision.
dropped in that
because-
metal voice real quick.
Yeah. Sean's ripping off on the vision. But the vision thing, man, is something I talk about a lot, but like he shares that, you know, maybe a lot of co-hosts and producers wouldn't, and that's fine. But we share that. It's much like you and your guys do. So
A lot of people think they do until it's tested.
yeah, that's the thing. The test is what you got to go through.
100%.
We know about that.
Yeah, yeah. So so forming a new band, if it was so with you guys, for example, then using that as the lens, I guess, was it a natural formation with you guys? Is that why it became that, or did it become that? I guess.
It was natural as hell
Gotcha.
because we had in Stephen Watkins and John Zigg's case. I didn't know Kevin until later, but I had respected him prior for sure. But yeah, I had met Stephen Watkins and John Zigg when they were recording Sarcolytic, the Arcane Progeny, incredible album. It was produced by the drummer of Asperian Sorrow, because he was a producer where he has his own studio, Amplitude, and they tracked with him. And so I think it was like 2007 or something. I was in our studio when I was in Asperian Sorrow. I was just hanging out in that studio like all the time, you know, writing with Chris, the drummer, and he when Sarcolytic came in to record with him, that was when I first met Stephen Watkins and John Zig, and when I got to witness them laying this shit down, and I was like, fuck. Like, imagine being in a band with these guys. Because, like, it was very different in style from Vesperian Sorrow. Vesperian Sorrow was like, you know, melodic, symphonic stuff.
Yeah.
You know, brutal in its own right at times, especially with Chris on drums. Just a total blaster.
That's the band I said I heard him on, was that Vesperian Sorrow.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
But yeah, and so like
Connecting dots, baby.
after but Sarcolytic was more brutal, and I've always like that's been my first true love.
Oh yeah.
Was that behemoth-y, Belphegor-y, you know,
Kind of mix up.
mixture of Black Death, and they took it a little further with Sarcolytic. But yeah, so throughout the years, throughout subsequent years, so it was like 2007 or something, you know, they were friends that I saw usually at shows and stuff. But yeah, we just decided one day that, you know, Sarcolytic, I guess, that project kind of petered out, or was on hold. But SWAT and I reconnected, and we decided to start writing riffs together when we had time, laying it down at his place. And then before we knew it, we were like, okay, we have to make this a thing. And it was no question who'd be on vocal.
Yeah.
You know, once he decided that, yeah. And since they were kind of a package deal prior anyway, Steve and SWAT and Zig, from being together in Images of Violence and in Sarcolytic and stuff, and their chemistry has always been a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, now with John Zig's departure, that's a really high set bar.
That's a beautiful callback to how we started the conversation. How about that? See, you did great.
Yeah.
By the way, can we all just take a second? You know how they say about white noise, how you don't notice until it's gone? Do you hear how quiet it is now because they stopped working over there?
I'm tired of their shit.
But like, I heard it stop. I was like, whoa, what just happened? Like, I thought the thing cut off. I looked down. I was like, no, it's still going. I was like, oh, they must have stopped. It was crazy. That was crazy. Anyways,
They've been doing shit over there for like a year, so they're pretty much done.
I also jumped in there because we got about 4 minutes, so that is literally a great time to a great circle back right there. So that was perfect.
There's some stuff I wanted to touch on too.
Well, you got 4 minutes if you want to run through it quick.
I know you had some. I didn't know if you want to talk about your health problems and like overcoming that.
Let's do it.
Yeah, you want to hit that real quick?
Because I mean, that ties into how I got into bodybuilding.
Yeah,
and then and fitness, and you know.
Okay.
Do you think it can hit that in 5 minutes?
I'll try.
Okay, go.
So back in 2014, some really weird shit started to happen to me bodily. I started to display like random autoimmune symptoms, rashes, fatigue, just basically my hormones went down the tubes and everything else followed. And my endocrine system went haywire, and I couldn't get, and no one knew what was happening, and symptoms worsened as the months went on. Antibiotics were thrown at me at random by people that I couldn't get any answers from, but who would take my money.
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, I was befallen with thallium toxicity. And it's a heavy metal. How ironic, right? Good God.
Holy fucking shit.
Holy, just come on, you know? But yeah, so similar to lead poisoning. And, you know, when you research it and shit, especially at the time, you know, that wasn't a heavy metal poisoning, wasn't a household term yet, you know. So anyway, I went several years after that, just kind of deteriorating and going misdiagnosed until some of my own research and suspicions revealed through the proper blood work.
Yeah.
And urinalyses what I really what was really going on, what was really at the root. I was because I thought that maybe it was like mercury or something like that. And when they told me thallium was in there, I wished it was mercury. Thallium's radioactive.
Oh shit, dude.
You had that-
I mean, that's pretty metal though.
You had that in
heavy
your-
metal.
Was that your blood?
Particles of it ended up trapped in my liver. So you know those kid toys where it's like shapes cut out of a ball and they gotta figure out which
Yeah.
goes in, or like a monkey trap.
Yeah.
So got in and couldn't get out. Gotcha. So all these particles, like a monkey trap, you know, therein lied. You know, that was when my body started responding very adversely to it. And I basically had the immune system of an AIDS patient without, you know, that being the case.
Where are we at on time? I feel like
I got 15 seconds. Hold on.
oh, shit. Let me reset really quick.
But long story short, man, by some stroke of luck, I was able to catch it in time with my testosterone being at 80
Jesus Christ.
For
for
proper
a 30-year-old.
What's the frame of reference on that?
So I like to touch on this because the system is bringing it down. But like the average, I think, is like, 450 to 700 or like, yeah, something like that.
That's what they told me.
That's the average.
The
Now,
average-
the average is about 20% lower than it was
Right,
several
yeah.
decades ago, and
Yeah.
it keeps dropping.
Yes,
But anyways, we're going to go there.
but damn.
So 80 is extremely low.
So that's a very
Hit
good
double
frame of
digits,
reference.
you got a
see?
door in the grave. Or hit double digits, you got a foot in the grave.
Oh, really?
You know.
So as soon as you got to 99, you were already like in a bad spot, and you're at 80. Damn.
Yeah. If that's any indication of how much I was
Bad you
suffering.
were, yeah.
But once I got the proper diagnosis on that and the proper game plan was given to me by some fucking hippies, I hate when they're right. I was able to gradually, through mega doses of certain homeopathic and nutraceuticals and stuff, I was able to gradually through real hardcore discipline as far as dieting goes to get the inflammation down first. You know, I was able to kind of filter it out over the course of more years after that. But having still had that chance of life and surviving that was the impetus through which I started getting into physical fitness, because prior to that was sedentary bullshit, geeky lifestyle. I think I was I don't think I ever exceeded 160 pounds before that. But while I was sick, I think I got down to it was like 130.
Jeez. What's the heaviest you've been once you started lifting?
At 190.
Buddy.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like that was when having a new lease on life after that gave me, that was like, I I have to run as far away from that as possible. And that meant getting fit, getting strong,
Getting jacked.
and through social media, I began to be exposed to people, much further along that path than me, that were gracious enough and friendly enough to impart to me some of their wisdom and experience. And here I am.
A testament to strength and taking care of yourself.
Iron will.
Yep.
That as well.
And he's consistent as hell, man. And since I've known Sean, I mean, he's fucking, massive transformations. It's cool. It's cool to see. I love seeing people be consistent and just like progress. That's all it takes. Consistency. Same thing as this, same thing as your band, same thing in the gym. Consistency is the biggest key.
And like Joe, when he's bigger and more badass every new time I see him.
What?
Jesus.
Don't mind me.
Don't say don't say anything else to him. He's good to
I didn't
go.
hear what you said.
He's good.
And I can say I can say just very matter of factly, because I'm self-aware enough to say that that's the case with me as well. I know damn well. So
Hell yeah.
You could almost say
it,
it's a relentless pursuit, yeah.
It is a relentless pursuit.
and there we have it.
An hour
we
and
do.
45 minutes to get to the punchline.
Hell yeah. I love it, dude. Well, Sean, this is about enough time. We usually cut it off at the end, but I wanted to get that story, man. I find that important piece to add on because, like, throughout this journey, navigating your way through the world of metal and going through some near-death kind of health issues, for sure. Yeah. I mean, that's a lot to experience, but you didn't let it fuck you up. You didn't quit. You knew something else was going on. You were persistent. You figured it the fuck out. And now you're better, and now you're progressing, and that's awesome. Because a lot of people run into those situations. They're like, well, I guess I got to quit. We're never gonna figure it out. And like, there's a fucking way. There's something out. There's answers out there. It's a matter of how hard you want to fucking find them. So proud of you.
Thank you, brother. I'm proud of you too.
Thanks, buddy.
I just met you, but I'm proud of you too. You're awesome. You're awesome.
Logan's so proud. I'm just proud of everybody here.
I love it.
But
oh, your camera's gonna die for real.
All right, so next time, we'll have you both talk. Well, I'll get David in here too. All right, David's just chilling though. So, Sean, thank you for being here, brother. I love you, dude. Taking him to the airport today. But until next time, bro.
Honored.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Thank you.
Done.
Good shit.